Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the JT Pitstop. We're running a little bit late this week. We had some stuff going on. I was out at a racetrack all weekend, 12 hours of Sebring. That's what's up. It was a good time. So it took me a while to get caught up on the racing that I missed. But we are caught up. I've watched all three races now. So we're ready to talk about it. We rolled into Atlanta. This is the second year of Atlanta being in a super speedway configuration, high draft, pack racing, if you want to call it pack racing. We didn't really get pack racing this time around. But at the end of the day, with a last lap pass, Joey Logano won the race at Atlanta, which actually ends the Chevrolet lockout on race wins for 2023, being the first Ford to go to victory lane. So, yeah, it was an interesting race, but we will dive into that. The race went green. We had a pretty early caution when Bubba Wallace spun out, smacked the inside wall, kind of took him out of contention for the day. But that was the only caution in stage one. Stage one went green all the way through after that, and it was pretty much single file the whole time up until the last lap. And Joey Logano wound up winning stage number one. So, Trevor, what did you think of stage number one of the Am Better Health 400 from Atlanta?
I have seen better races than that.
Yeah.
And better 400 stage one, especially for it being a plate track,
Right.
or whatever. I thought it was junk.
Yeah.
Super boring. It's been a theme this year. Stage one has been super boring.
Yeah.
Pretty much all year. It's getting ridiculous. Kind of sucks because we don't have anything to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Like, all we gotta talk about is
2 minutes and stage one is over.
Yeah, we're done talking about stage one in 2 minutes. Yeah, I also didn't find stage one to be the most entertaining. It was just kind of bad. But it was also kind of, I guess everyone's kind of looking after their stuff because the Atlanta races last year were very chaotic. There were wrecks the whole way through the race. So that was stage one. All right, so pit stops happened at the stage break. The aide of Kyle Busch opted for a fuel only stop in the stage break and basically cycled, or not a fuel only, he took less fuel than everybody else. I misread my notes. So they got 4 tires. He took a little less fuel, cycled out to the front, but that didn't matter. He led like a lap, and then there come the Fords, all lined up, and Fords get by him again. We did see green flag pit stops in stage number 2, which I was happy to see because I was really interested to see how the new pit lane worked. Which was kind of wild because had a caution come out in the middle of pit stops, which is very likely, with the fact that you had cars coming off of pit road and cars merging pit road at the exact same spot on the racetrack. With having to go all the way around the track, you guys, the ones that pit first, were 2 laps down.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 laps down. So if a caution comes out in the middle of the pit cycle with this configuration, that is going to be very problematic for a lot of teams if you get caught on the wrong side of that. So I was actually much happier with some of the teams that opted to go longer on the fuel,
Right.
just because that is obviously a significantly safer option when it comes to fuel mileage. There was a couple penalties. Ryan Blaney got a speeding penalty, which actually got him stuck a lap down for the majority of stage number 2. He would have stayed a lap down if it wasn't for his teammate that was leading the field at the time, decided that they were just going to ride behind that group of lap down cars. So, yeah, good job, teammate.
Go team.
Go team. The end of stage 2, however, did get a little bit racy with Joey backing up behind those lap cars. Everybody behind him was like, "Hey, we're going slow here. Let's go." And we actually saw a bottom lane form. And the last like lap and a half of stage 2 was super racy. I was like, oh, that was fun. Like, why can't we get that the whole race? Because that was really good. Like, if we
Yeah.
got that little bit of raciness. But other than that, stage 2, pretty much uneventful. Green flag pit stops, 1.5 laps of good racing, and single file trains. So, Trevor, what did you think of stage number 2?
Oh my gosh, dude, this is ridiculous. I have nothing.
Nothing to add to the conversation
No.
on stage number 2.
I
Well,
mean, I really don't, dude.
yeah.
Like, what is there to add?
I don't know. I mean, I could add the fact
Fords
that
are the Fords are
yeah,
looking pretty strong.
yeah, on the super speedways for sure.
Yeah.
I could
Way
add in the
more than
fact
stage
that Austin Cindric did win the stage. I did overlook that fact. So,
four.
good job to Austin Cindric for winning the stage and taking advantage of the niceness of his teammate for slowing
Yeah.
everybody down. So stage number 3 was where the race decided to kind of get a little spicy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yep.
they go green,
Finally.
and we got our first crash of the day in stage number 3. Ross Chastain comes through the field on the bottom groove with a ton of momentum, gets right on the back of Kevin Harvick, doesn't touch him, but
No.
gets right up on his bumper. The air gets him loose. Kevin Harvick spins in front of the field and takes out a whole bunch of good cars. And then there was a pit stops under caution there because everybody needed to get their fuel to get to the end of the race at this point. And Ross Chastain just turns to the right and decides to drive on the grass instead of checking up for Kyle Larson. And I was just like, well, there go that Ross Chastain. Good job on that one, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
And then the 11 made contact with another car on pit road, kind of sent him backwards on that exchange of pit stops. So we went green there, and this is when the unfortunate incident happened, the last caution of the day. Eric Almirola, out front leading, blows a tire while leading, spins out, collects Kyle Larson, and that was the end of both of their races. After that, the race went green to the end, which I was actually happy to see a long green flag run at the end of the super speedways. It just feels like the last couple of years, somebody does some stupid shit, and we get a caution, and we get green light checkers and restarts, and it's just all chaos. So it was really, really cool to see that run go as long as it did, right to the end.
Yep.
And I was even happier because it was my boy up there leading, Mr. Brad Keselowski.
And I picked him, so I was rooting for him.
I know you did. But yeah, it was really cool to see him up there and just being able to put on his talents as good as he is and control all the lanes up until the last lap. When
my favorite part was listening to TJ Majors.
Oh yeah,
like that, when they were doing that in the broadcast.
That was fantastic.
I love
it. I love listening to TJ Majors up there.
Yeah.
When they followed him around for like 5 laps, just listening to the 16 radio, and it was just like that was some of the best part of the broadcast right there.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. But yeah, Brad tried to block on the last lap, didn't get up high enough, left a gap for Joey Logano. He got to his outside. And just with the way the outside was working in 3 and 4, there's just nothing he could do at that point. And Joey Logano.
I kind of feel like he went up, but he thought that Joey was going to come
Yeah.
down and tried to anticipate Joey going down. And
Yeah.
Joey's like, joke's on you.
Yeah, Joey just stayed up there.
That's how I feel like it.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was Brad, I would have thought the same thing too. Like,
Yeah.
who wouldn't?
That's usually what happens when you get all the way on the extreme outside. You kind of stall out a little bit. But what helped there was the fact that going down the backstretch on the outside, Joey just got like the push of the century from Christopher Bell, and that was the deciding factor more than anything. Was just that massive push from Christopher Bell. Clearly not helping his Toyota teams. The Toyotas did not work together very well at all in this race. But yeah, Joey Logano wound up winning the race, and I will actually show you on my notes here. I made a little sad face. Right. I made a little sad face.
I don't have him on my screen for a
I
reason.
know. I put a little
Yeah.
sad face there. Because like, uh, nothing against Joey Logano, but that was my boy's chance to win a race, and he finished second. So obviously, good job to the guys at RFK. They're running just really good this year,
Oh,
and
yeah, they
it
are.
was really good to see. I liked Brad's interview at the end of the race where he's like, if you actually race with a little respect, we can finish these races. Kind of just
Yep.
throwing shade on everybody. It was really good to see.
Right. Yep.
Um, but yeah, that's about it for the Am Better Health 400. Trevor, what are your thoughts on stage 3 and the overall feel of the race?
I mean, I've felt as though Toyotas, I don't feel like they really showed up. Fords were class of the field. Uh, Chevys were mediocre at best.
Mm-hmm.
This race at Atlanta. Um, if we're just gonna have single file racing, why don't we have the old shitty surface of Atlanta and everything else?
Yeah.
And just, I mean, this is not. I don't feel like so. Last year, I think it was cool, and we were kind of talking
Yeah.
beforehand, but just kind of put it out there for everyone else. This track was cool last year because it was new.
Yeah. It had
It
a
was
ton of grip
exciting,
last year.
and but it was fun and exciting, and like you were kind of going into it like, oh, what's gonna happen, you
Right.
know? And, oh, well, this is cool, because
Yeah.
Atlanta doesn't really get this type of racing,
Yeah. I
you
do
know?
think making this race 400 miles versus 500 miles was a absolute win. I thought the
Yeah,
500-mile race last year just dragged on forever.
right.
Um,
And if you're gonna have a 500-mile super speedway race, make it a wider racetrack where they
yeah.
can actually,
Yeah, like
run
500 miles works for Daytona,
very
and
wide.
it works
Right.
really good at Talladega.
But
It
they don't do 500 miles at Talladega.
Yeah, they do.
No, they do 499.
Oh, get out of here! Get out of here! That's because the track is 2.66 miles.
It's a fact, though, but
Yeah,
it's a fact.
technically not 500 miles, but might as well be.
Yeah.
Uh,
Anyway,
yeah, but yeah, I mean, I thought the race was okay. I didn't think it was like great. It wasn't good, but I didn't think it was completely terrible either. Just because of the fact that we did get that little bit of raciness at the end of stage 2 that shows you can actually race here. And not only that, but we finally had a super speedway for the first time in like 8 years that just ran green all the way to the end, and it was just kind of cool to see. But obviously, I think the biggest problem with this package in general, and on top of it being in Atlanta, is you just can't get that 3 wide, that big pack racing. You're kind of just in a line, and your line goes or your line doesn't go.
right.
So they definitely need to do some work. But for what, like the first time this year, the Cup race was not the worst race of the weekend, which is really good. So I don't, in my opinion, it wasn't the best race of the weekend, but it wasn't the worst. It was the one that
Right.
was kind of right in the middle. So
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so.
all right, well let's move on, and this one's gonna take us a while, and we're gonna move on and talk about the Xfinity Series Raptor 250.
Yes.
This one an absolute doozy, but it definitely had the biggest moment of the weekend from this race, and we'll get to that.
Oh, like the year.
Yeah, biggest moment of the year so far. We will get to that, but at the end of the race, Austin Hill wound up winning. Second
Again
super
this year.
speedway win of the year. That was his third win or his second win this year? It was his second win.
Second.
Second win,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so right off the bat, this race was stage 1 was a mess. They didn't run longer than 5 laps before a caution comes out.
No.
It was just terrible. The cars just had no handling. They were all over the place, and it's also the Xfinity series, which already gets really messy on super speedways. When you throw in all those
Yeah.
handling problems and things like that, it turns messy. I mean, right off the bat, you had Baccarella spun out. Earnhardt and Casgrala got together. Kyle Weatherman got loose. And then this is where things get interesting. So lap 32, a debris caution comes out from some bear bond that fell off the 92 car of Josh Williams after getting some damage in the wreck that had happened before. So NASCAR, in accordance to their rule book, has the authority, and the I looked at the rule in this rule book, is at their discretion, they can either tell a car you're done for the day, or you can serve a lap penalty. And NASCAR, most likely in the situation, because they're not getting any racing in, they're looking at this race just being a total clusterfuck. They looked the debris falling off of Josh Williams' car, and it wasn't even their fault because it was so cold that bear bond was just not adhering properly to the race car. It was a weather issue, and the bear bond fell off on the track right after the green flag, and NASCAR says you're done for the day. Now, Josh Williams, he's back and forth with his spotter, and they're like, are you sure? Like, I don't think that's fair. Like, they're trying to figure it out, and they're like, yeah, you got to park it. So what does Josh Williams do? Josh Williams just stops right on the front stretch, right at the start-finish line, stops the car, gets out, and just walks across the infield to pit road, waving to the fans.
With the peace sign.
With the peace sign, yeah. And he gets to pit road, and they're talking with the officials, and they're like, you gotta get to the hauler, like, you're done for the day. And there's clips of audio, and he's just like, what are they gonna do? Fine me? I can't pay it. And yeah, and then he's like, he gives a little heart to the cameras, like, and he goes to the NASCAR hauler, which they decide they're going to suspend him for a race. No points, penalties, no fines, or anything like that.
No monetary.
Apparently, it was a like 2.5 hour discussion in the NASCAR hauler, so I'm sure that was a fun time. Apparently there was pizza and drinks that he was able to eat while he was there. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, Josh Williams went from a guy that nobody has heard of to just an absolute hero.
American hero.
With that one moment. And man, like, so I was at Sebring, right? I'm watching the 12 hours of Sebring at this point when this race is going on. And I've got all my group chats, my Discords, and all that just start going crazy with, oh my God, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like that. And I'm like, what's going on? Because I'm watching the IMSA race, and I'm having a good time doing that. And I'm like, what am I missing in Atlanta right now? Like, what is happening? And I found out about the Josh Williams thing, and I'm like, no way. He got out of the car, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And it wasn't until the next day when I finally got home I was able to get the video, pull that up and see what happened. And I was blown away. I went back and watched the race and the whole thing. That was the craziest thing I have ever seen. And I love it.
I was kind of mad that I had turned on the race when that was going on. Like, what? Because I had watched a little bit. I'd watched like the first 10, 15 laps and was like, and actually Lena goes, hey, isn't Joe at the race? And I'm like, oh yeah, shit, 12 hours is on. Like, I'm going to go watch that. Screw this. This is bogus. Whatever. I'll go get the highlights later so we have something to talk about. But like, I'm not watching Caution Fest. I'd rather go watch Bottom Split of iRacing or something. So I put on the race, and then all of a sudden, like, Discord starts popping off, and I'm like, what did I miss? Like, oh, I missed the caution. Oh my gosh. And then I seen it and I was like, dude, what? I missed that?
Yeah.
Watch. Damn. That's like the highlight of the year.
I know. The biggest moment of the year is the guy parking the car on the track and just telling NASCAR to screw off. I'm going to just do what I do.
Yeah. Oh, you want me to park it? Well, here you go. Have it.
Yeah, fine. I'll park it.
Yeah. You don't park it in the garage. You're going to bring it to me.
Yeah. Oh, man. That was a crazy moment. Like, I'm interested to see how this develops because obviously Josh Williams is going to get a ton of media attention from this.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
Oh, I know. He's been on like He was on DBC, Door Bumper
Yep.
Clear. I haven't had a chance to listen to that yet. I'm really looking forward to that. He did all kinds of. He's been on like every podcast. He's on NASCAR Race
Race
Hub,
Hub.
and
Yep.
it's just this small town, like small Xfinity guy, is just getting. He's getting. I feel like I saw more coverage from Josh Williams doing this than I saw Ricky Stenhouse in media days for the Daytona 500.
Yeah.
I feel like
I
yeah.
feel like there's definitely more hype of Josh Williams parking the car than realistically, any winner this year.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Any race winner this year, for
Yeah.
sure. And
Even
almost
Kyle Busch winning was just
right.
nothing compared to Josh Williams parking the car on the racetrack and getting out.
I could almost go along with Joey Logano winning the championship last year.
Yeah.
I mean, this is huge.
Yes.
Huge. Even people that aren't NASCAR fans are talking
Oh,
about.
I know. This is like not quite to the level of the Hail Melon, but
Yeah,
it's
it's up
up
there.
there. It's up
Yeah,
there for sure.
right. Yeah, yeah. The Hail Melon. That's probably gonna be a hard one to top, but
Yeah.
this one is like borderline right
Yeah.
there. This is like a decibel low. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's just like
it's
it's just
not.
absolute craziness.
Yeah,
Should we get back to talking about the race?
I guess so. I mean,
Oh,
there
okay.
really ain't much more to talk about.
Yeah. Well,
Crash, 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 crash.
so after the Josh Williams thing, they went green again, and then just as the stage was finishing, they crashed again.
Yep.
Sheldon Creed won stage one, and I put in my notes here. Stage one of the Xfinity race was 40 laps. Take a guess at how many laps those were of green flag.
I'm gonna say 10.
A little more than that.
Oh,
Yeah, it
okay.
was 14 laps of green flag out of 40.
Still ridiculous.
Yes, very ridiculous. But shout out to Sheldon Creed for winning. Uh,
Yeah.
Tre- Trevor, what do you think of stage number one of the Raptor 250?
The most epic stage of NASCAR history this year.
And it wasn't for the on-track product.
And it did. It did. I mean, it was on
Oh
track.
yeah, technically on track, but it wasn't the racing that made it the best stage ever.
No, no. Go Sheldon though.
Yeah, good job for Sheldon Creed. So stage two of the Xfinity race started, and it was just more of the same. Uh, Chad Chastain, flat tire. Parker Retzlaff, flat tire. Mozak, he spun out, and then teammates, JRM teammates, wrecking each other
Okay.
again.
Yeah.
Josh Berry kind of moved to the middle for some reason, and Allgaier kind of moved up, not really knowing why he was there, and it just turned Justin Allgaier and
Yeah,
took him out of the race.
it was a really weird incident.
It
I
it
don't know.
was like I was looking at that, like my first look at it was like, oh, Josh Berry wrecking somebody again, but then I was looking at it, I'm like, technically he just moved to the middle lane and sat there, which was
Yeah.
weird because nobody was really running the middle all race.
Right.
So I was just like, why did he go there? And then Justin Allgaier kind of moved up to arc into the corner like they had been doing all day, and then just Barry was there, and it was just like, it was a weird incident. Um, and then Parker Kligerman won stage number two.
Mhm.
So a lot of cautions, not a lot of racing. Trevor, what do you think of stage number two?
I thought it was like bottom split of iRacing
Yeah,
ARCA division.
yeah, bottom split or top split, however you want to look at it.
I mean, maybe. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah. I don't get to race top split a
yeah,
lot. So no. I don't know what's going on with JRM.
yeah. They are
To be
not.
honest,
They're
they're
not
not
working together
gelling.
this year.
They're not. They're crashing each other almost every damn week. It's
Yeah,
pissing me off.
yeah. I
Junior, do something about your boys.
yeah. It's frustrating because
'Cause I
like
like them all. I mean,
it
there's not one driver that I don't like that I'm like,
right.
all right, whatever, it's
Yeah,
okay. I mean, Allgaier is a veteran of s- so much, and Josh Berry, he's coming up, and Brandon Jones, he's doing good, and I missing one.
I mean,
Who's missing?
Brandon Jones, Sam Mayer.
Yep, Sam Mayer. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, Sam Mayer, he's just young,
yeah.
but
But
whatever.
I think it's that combination of Barry and Mayer are kind of causing most of the problems with that, because it feels like Allgaier's kind of doing his thing like he always does. He's the veteran. He knows what he's doing,
Right,
and it
right.
feels like he's getting caught up in stuff more often than being part of the problem. And Brandon Jones has just not been running well this year. He's
Right.
kind of just been out of the picture. So every time we see JRM cars together, it's usually the 8, the 7, the 1, the 7, the 8, the 1. It's usually
Right.
a combination of either the 8, the 1, and somebody else. And I
Yeah. And
don't
then
I don't
the
know what's
nine
going
gets
on.
wrapped up in it.
Yeah, the 9
The
gets wrapped
nine,
up in it. Yeah.
yeah, they're all right there because they're all, the
Yeah, they're,
best. They're the best team of Xfinity this year
yeah.
by, speed. They're
Yeah.
just not being able to execute because they're taking each other out.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, heck, when we race together, there's times where we get into each other
Oh,
because
for
it's
sure.
just hard racing and we're at that same
Yeah.
level, right? And
Yeah.
like you get that when you go into leagues and everything else, you just end up running around the same people, so you get mad at those people
Yeah.
because you're running around them all the time and shit happens because we're not professionals. So
Yeah.
I get it, but it just sucks to see it.
Oh yeah, I think they'll get those gelling issues worked out, and once they do, those JRM cars are just gonna just annihilate the field.
Right.
So,
Yep.
so moving on to stage number three, we had a couple of car spins, and then the finish, the finish.
The
Uh,
finish.
so Austin Hill, Parker Kligerman, Daniel Hemrick are racing each other really hard on the final lap. Kligerman's trying to make the outside work. Austin Hill's on the bottom. Daniel Hemrick's behind him. Hemrick moves up, tags Parker Kligerman. They're both just out of shape. And then Hemrick just kind of turned the wheel to the right and just cleaned him out. And Austin Hill wound up winning the race. Um, which
Barely. He
barely.
almost got clipped too.
Oh, yeah, he almost got wrecked too. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, the race actually technically ended under caution because they did throw the caution um,
Yep.
before the start finish, and that was actually a new record for
Oh
cautions
yeah.
in the Xfinity
Yeah.
Series at Atlanta. That race
Well,
had 14 cautions thrown
that's
in the
ridiculous.
race, and it was
I
all
wish I could. I wish I could go look at what the most cautions I've ever had in a freaking NIS race is.
yeah.
It's got to be around there.
I ran a B Open race a couple years ago at
Was
Kentucky.
that the idiots race? That was the idiot race, wasn't it?
No, no, this was
We
something
were
else.
both in it.
No, this was something like a long, like I'm talking like 2013, something around
Oh,
there. I ran a B Open race at Kentucky, and it was a 100 lap race, 13 cautions in 100 laps at Kentucky. Oh man, that was like a 2 hour race. I was
yeah,
like, what's going on? So
right.
I definitely feel for these drivers. Obviously, you get in the car, you want to get going, but I mean, this race ran like an hour and a half past the scheduled broadcast window. I
Yep.
mean, if I went on YouTube to watch this race on the NASCAR YouTube channel, and between the three races, this Xfinity race had the longest run time. This race, 150 miles less, ran 20 minutes longer than the Cup Series.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, I would say that was the
I don't.
worst race of the year.
I gotta say, and I wonder if it was just due to the very, very cold weather
Yeah, I think it was
that
the
happened.
the cold and the wind and the fact that the grip in Atlanta is going away very quickly.
Good. Maybe maybe this won't be a super speedway for long.
I honestly the way the track was looking this weekend, I give it 2 years and it will no longer be a super speedway track.
Like a
With
flat out track anymore.
Yeah, I don't think it
Maybe
will
like
be.
a maybe like the old Talladega and the
Yeah,
'87 cars.
I think it'll look like an old school Daytona Talladega race, like pre-restrictor plates, unless NASCAR decides that we're gonna make some changes to the cars to make it still look like Daytona and Talladega, which I kind of hope they don't, because the only way to do that is to turn the power down more on the cars. And then at that point, they're going 30 miles an hour, and I can just go watch that on the highway outside. I don't want to watch that on TV. So, um,
Well,
I
I
was,
don't have a highway outside, so
fair enough.
maybe it'd be nice on. I mean, it wouldn't be bad to watch.
Yeah.
It might actually be more exciting.
It'd be more
You know,
exciting than watching all these cars wreck each other all day.
I mean, it'd be kind of like what we watched in Xfinity.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, that was the worst race of the weekend. Trevor, what are your overall thoughts on the Raptor 250?
Mind blowing.
Yeah,
It was just mind blowing. It was the worst Xfinity race I've watched that I can remember.
yeah,
I don't think I've seen anything that gruesome and terrible in
it was definitely a rough
years.
one.
Oh man, it was. It's like, what do you do?
Yeah,
It's kind of, maybe they should have postponed the race. Maybe they
yeah,
shouldn't do a cold weather race like this.
yeah.
I mean, that's just. I don't know, man. It's kind of sad that a guy parking his car is the most exciting part of the race.
Yeah.
You know?
All right. Well, let's move on to something a little bit more exciting, and we're going to talk about the Craftsman Truck Series, Freight 208. So this race, I actually really enjoyed this race. Just the way the trucks were drafting. You had a
Yeah,
little bit of single file, but you still had some good racing throughout the race.
right,
And the race was short enough that as many cautions as they had, it didn't seem to really drag the race on that
right.
horribly. Um, so the first caution of the day actually came out on lap 25. Um, and it was actually the only caution in stage number one. You had a truck driver, Lane Riggs, tried to switch lanes, was not clear, put another truck in the wall, brought out a yellow, which weirdly set us up for a one lap shootout for, for stage one. Not a green
That's
white
really
checker,
weird.
a
No,
one lap shootout.
one lap
They
shootout. Yeah,
barely got up to speed. It was like really weird. Like it was like, why even do this? Like it didn't really make sense because with it being a super speedway, the cars never really got up to speed. But Christian Eckes wound up winning stage number one. But so I watched the Xfinity race and then I watched the Truck Series race, right? So after like, okay, cautions, we'll skip that, we'll skip that. All right, we're gonna skip ahead. We'll watch like 2 minutes, and we'll skip ahead 10 minutes. To sit there and watch the Truck Series race, and they actually got like the solid 25 laps of green flag racing before the caution. I was like, oh man, this is great. And I think the fact that I watched the Truck Series third out of all the races, that's why like my mindset was like, oh, this is the best race, because it's also after watching that Xfinity race. So,
right.
um, that is that. So, what do you think of stage number one of the truck race?
I thought it was good. Good
Yeah,
racing. One caution. A one lap shootout. You don't see that very often. So
yeah.
heck yeah, man. Heck yeah.
All right. So moving on, there were two cautions in stage number two. The first caution was for debris. Some ballast, big chunk of tungsten, fell out of one of the trucks, landed on the racetrack. Zane Smith hit that, and it just shredded up the splitter. Didn't hurt it as bad as I
Yeah.
thought it would. But that is a pretty hefty penalty for losing the ballast off the cars. And what
Yeah.
they were saying on the broadcast is those are marked with the truck number. So when the
Yeah.
officials get that, they're going to know who it came from. And you're gonna get talked to in the NASCAR hauler, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know who that
Go.
was.
Go. Daryl Waltrip screwed that one up for him.
Yep, he did.
Yep.
He sure did. So then later in the stage, there were some power issues for Caden Honeycutt. So just car shut off on him. Didn't bring out a caution. And then the old grizzled veteran Matt Crafton wins stage number 2.
Yeah.
What did you think of stage number 2? I thought it was pretty wild. I thought it was good.
I love watching Matt Crafton win.
Of course. Who doesn't like watching Matt Crafton win in that old Menards
Right.
88?
Yeah. No, I thought it, best side by side racing we've seen all weekend.
Yeah.
And it was the first race of the weekend. And it was not, I had fun watching it. Yep.
Yeah.
Sure did.
For sure.
I wish we knew who had the ballast fall out.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. Sucked to see Zane Smith hit it.
Yeah.
Kind of wishing he would do good this year.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, he won Daytona, so it's not like he's doing that bad. And this is
yeah.
this. Let's be fair. This is only race 3 of the Truck Series. They've only had it. Which actually, speaking of which, can we talk about the fact that the first 5 races of the Truck Series is a super speedway, a 1.5 miles, a super speedway, a road course, and a dirt track.
I mean, that's pretty huge variety.
Right?
I wish they ran the trucks more.
Yeah. Well, they run them more in the summer.
Yeah.
At least it's a little better because a couple years ago the trucks would they'd run Daytona, they'd run Atlanta, and you wouldn't see them again until Bristol, or not even Bristol. They would wait until like Martinsville, and you had like a solid 3 or 4 weeks with no trucks,
right?
And that was pretty bad. But so it's kind of nice that they got a couple of weeks, like every other week with the Truck Series, so you get a little bit more trucks every week because those truck races they're really fun to watch.
Right.
They're chaotic and stupid a lot of times, but they're fun to watch.
Yeah. They're some of my favorites.
Yeah.
For sure. But I just feel like you don't get enough.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
I think that's what makes it so exciting.
I think they only have.
Oh yeah, the trucks are racing. Yeah, dude.
Well,
let's watch it, and then.
I mean, if you look at it, like the Cup Series has a 38-week schedule, 36 regular season races, and 2 exhibition races with the Clash and the All-Star race. The trucks only run like 24 or 25 races.
Right.
So that they're running 20 weeks less than the Cup Series.
Right.
So I don't know. They need to add more truck races to the schedule. Like
30. Make it 30.
Yeah, make it a 30 race schedule. They don't have to run as much as the Xfinity Series. But give them at least 30 races. Give us more trucks. Just a couple weeks more trucks. That'd be fun. I'd like to see more trucks. Moving on to stage number 3. This is where the race kind of took a downward spiral. Because this is when we went from good racing to a little bit more like the Xfinity race. There were just a lot of cautions.
Not enough laps.
Yeah, not enough laps. I mean, it's only a 208-mile race, so it was a short race, and this third stage, a lot of cautions. Ogata spun out on his own, and then there's some pit road contact between Corey Heim and Howard, which actually set up for an interesting moment because Corey Heim getting that damage on pit road, slow pit stop that put him back in traffic. Where we had a restart crash where Nick Sanchez did not get going on the restart, and Corey Heim just plowed right into him. I did listen to the interview with Corey Heim, and he said, yeah, I'm looking in the mirror watching the guys behind me to go, and the spotter tells me we're going, and I just hit the gas, and I'm watching the mirror to make sure no one's cutting inside outside on me, and then he just ran into the guy because he wasn't expecting him to not go.
Right.
Which that kind of caused an interesting restart crash. There was a couple trucks. Thompson and Lawless Allen made a little bit of contact and cut a tire down. That brought out a caution. And then Wood got turned by John Hunter Nemechek. Jack Wood. Kind of got turned around. Little bump there. And then Carson Hocevar slid up into the wall with some contact by Matt Crafton and Lawless Allen, which then dropped some debris on the track, which set us up for a overtime finish in Atlanta, where Christian Eckes wins the race, and there's a massive crash off of turn number 3, which actually this race also set a record for cautions at Atlanta. Yep, this race had 11 cautions in the Truck Series race at Atlanta. So
most of them were in stage 3.
Most of them were in stage 3. Well, I mean, to be fair, with the stage cautions, like those technically count as a caution, the way those are at. So when you had one caution for incident in stage one caution for incident in stage two, you're rolling into stage three already with 4 cautions on the board.
Right. Yep.
And then you had the 5 or 6 crashes, and then that was it. So,
See,
um,
I don't really count. I mean, I get it, they do,
on the
but I don't
stat book
really.
they count, but technically
Right.
they don't.
Right.
But yeah, Christian Eckes, big truck series win at Atlanta in the Napa truck. Which actually, fun fact, all the sponsors on all the cars that won this week are actually based in Georgia. So
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool.
Yep.
But yeah, what did you think of the truck series, the Freight 208?
I thought it was the best race we had
Yeah,
for sure of the weekend. Um, the whole Nick Sanchez thing, dude, that was so weird. Like I was
yeah,
sitting there watching it and was like, did he miss a shift? Like what happened with that?
yeah.
Did he do the money shift from third to second instead of fourth or what? Like second to first? I don't know what
Hey,
gear
Speedway,
he was
welcome.
going in. Huh?
Stream chat.
Oh,
Keep
hey
going.
buddy.
Keep going.
So I thought it was just kind of random. And listening to the radio, they were like, "Oh, I just lost power, and then all of a sudden got my power back." It was like this really weird coincidental thing.
Yeah,
Feel bad for Heim
yeah.
to
Well,
get caught
yeah.
up in that.
Like I said, like because of the contact on pit road, he got stuck
Yeah,
back in the field, which then put him
right.
behind the mess. It's just
Yep,
really unfortunate for him, just getting
right.
caught up in the mess like that. But yeah,
Oh
I love the truck race. Like
yeah,
I thought between the 3 races this weekend, that truck race, best show of the weekend.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, it's kind of hard to do because you have one race that went dominantly green,
yes,
but it was also dominantly single file,
yes,
right? Wasn't
yeah,
a lot of racing. Then you got another race that was kind of screwed by the weather and the fact
yeah,
that they couldn't really get any heat into the track to get the tires to stick and tons of crashes and everything else for the setups not being built for that
yeah,
weather. And then you had the next race that was action packed racing, but kind of mired with a few late cautions at the end of
right,
it. It's kind of like, I mean, how do you go with which one? I mean,
yeah,
obviously, Xfinity was the worst by far this weekend, I feel like.
for sure. One sec. Don't worry about it, D-Way. That's why we're doing this live, so we can chat, get to chat, get your opinions on the NASCAR race. So, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
yeah.
I don't
Uh,
get to see I don't see the chat, so I didn't know you
all
were in
right.
there.
Hey,
Uh,
next time we get this going, you should just pull up the Glimmers chat. I'll send you a link. You can
yeah, all right.
see the chat for the next show.
Yeah,
That way
yeah,
you can kind of see chat as well. But
right.
yeah, like we talk at the Cup Series, long green flag runs, a lot of single file, not a lot of incidents, which was good, refreshing for a speedway race. The
Right.
Xfinity race, total mess, absolute mess. But it had the biggest moment of the weekend, and then then you had the truck series, which was kind of a welcomed mix because you had the first 2 stages, a lot of green flag racing, but it was actual racing, some side by side, different lines moving, that sort of thing. But then you also had the wrecks and the calamity at the end of it. Um, like I don't know how much longer we can just keep doing Super Speedway Atlanta. It was fun last year because it was new, but with the track going through the weathering process of the winter,
Right. Yep.
it's going to wear out so fast that they're not
Yep.
going to get that pack draft racing on that racetrack the way they got it last year for much longer. And I'm really
I
interested to
I
see.
don't think they get it next year.
Yeah, I think next year you might get a little bit of it, but I think it's going to be very spread out. I think the real question is what are they going to do with the racetrack in 2025? Because it is absolutely not going to be a plate race. You're not going to get that super speedway race. So I'm really interested to see like what they do. It's been a fun novelty, but it's not going to last.
You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna start adding resin to somewhere on the track to
Please
make
no,
it. No,
please.
I mean,
I
what do
I
they
know,
do,
I
Joe?
know,
What do
I
they do?
know, but
That's what they do.
the
They just
the
add.
problem with the
Oh
resin.
well, this is a one groove track, so we gotta help them out and put some PJ1 resin
Yeah,
rubber compound down over here,
yeah.
and
The problem is they put the resin on and it permanently damages the track surface.
oh
Look
yeah,
at Phoenix. Like that race, they didn't put resin on the track, but it's left over from a year ago.
yep,
Like before the next gen, they haven't put the resin on the track in 2 years, and it still is just
still
ruining
there,
the racetrack.
right?
Texas is the same way, and obviously, I'm not going to blame the resin for Texas's problems.
Yeah, you
Texas is
can't.
Texas,
I was about to
but
say,
the resin did ruin the IndyCar race on that racetrack
yep,
because it stained the racetrack. Um, it just the resin I think helped a little bit, but it kind of ruins the overall package, especially when you got a car that can actually race on these racetracks, and now you got this resin on there that's just messing everything up. But I'm sure that they're going to come up with something either brilliant or really dumb to keep Atlanta the way it is, or just let it ride. Like let's just put the mile and a half package on this new repaved Atlanta and just see what happens. Why not?
I'm down.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
Put the
Get the cars
horsepower
up
on
at
there, get that high banking. Like, let's
yeah.
go. Let's roll.
Get 200 miles an hour going into turn one again.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, let's do it.
Yeah.
Whatever. 212, like the old Michigan days.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know, but the thing is like, yeah, we put this high horsepower on there. What's the racing gonna be like?
Yeah.
You think
I don't
that's
know.
gonna? You think it's gonna be another one of those wall riding racetracks, or is it actually gonna be fast to get down to the bottom of by the white line? Is it gonna have
Yeah.
multiple grooves? I don't think it's gonna be a multi-groove track. I think you're
Right.
gonna find that fast line, and you're gonna hit it. The outside was already prevailing.
Yeah.
Like right now with this package that we have, it's gonna. I feel like it's gonna prevail again once
Yeah.
you know. I think
But
it was cool.
yeah.
For a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Like
I
I said,
think we found.
it was fun last year. This year, it's just kind of like, eh.
I think we found out what we need to do with Texas. Okay.
Turn it into a
Uh,
super speedway.
no. I mean, kind of.
I mean, turn it into a parking lot.
We can't do that because of money.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough.
All right. I think what they should do is they should take the banking from Texas turn. Which one's the low one?
One
Turn
and two.
1 and 2.
Yeah. One and two
Take
is the flat
that
turn.
banking, take that banking, and put it at the very bottom of the track on the apron.
Ooh.
Okay, on the apron, and then take Charlotte and put it on the bottom, and
Okay.
then take Homestead and put it in the middle,
Okay.
and then take Atlanta and put it up top.
Oh, you're talking 4 different degrees of varying banking.
Dude, could you imagine the racing that would happen there if they actually did that?
That would be pretty insane.
Probably be pretty hard to make the progressive that much.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, usually when they do progressive banking, it's like a degree or two, but you're talking like let's do 5 extra degrees on the top side.
Yeah. Hey, why, dude?
Yeah,
I mean,
let's go 28 degrees on the top. Let's do 23 degrees in the middle, and let's
yeah.
do like 18 degrees on the bottom.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You're talking a 10 degree swing in degrees.
Yeah, man. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm for it. Let's go.
I think it'd be pretty cool. Let's get a hold of Junior.
You know,
Tell him to put it on the iRace.
we need to call the iRacing guys and have
Yeah,
them build the just try it out.
right.
Just try it out. Let's see what happens.
We already got the iRacing Super Speedway. Let's do the new and improved Texas Super Speedway.
Oh well.
The-
Speaking of,
we'll call it the Texas sucks. We're trying to make it better fund.
we'll just call it the JT Speedway. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah, there we go.
Anyway, speaking of Texas, NASCAR is heading out to Texas this weekend, but we're not going to Texas Motor Speedway.
No,
We
we're
are going
worst
to
track,
the Circuit of the Americas for the third year.
the shittier track.
Did you just say Circuit of the Americas is worse than Texas Motor Speedway?
Yeah.
I strongly disagree with that.
I don't. I did a freaking next gen race there earlier.
Yeah.
You know.
I love
I don't like. I'm not a Coda fan. I'm
Yeah.
not a Coda fan at all. It's just one of those tracks.
I used
dude,
to hate this track.
of it.
I used to hate this track. Like, absolutely hate it. I am absolutely becoming a fan of this racetrack. With just
Why? Because of the last lap last year?
No, I'm talking
I
running
mean-
laps on it on the simulator.
Oh.
Like, I actually really enjoy racing on it myself.
No.
As far as the actual racing at NASCAR at Coda, it's okay. But yeah,
Dump water on it again. That's all
dump water on it again. That's not a bad idea. So we got a lot of big names coming to Coda this week.
Yeah.
Jimmy
that's the
Johnson.
one thing I can't wait
Jimmy
for.
Johnson back in the car.
Yes.
Connor Daly's back in the 50 car. Good luck with that
Yes.
one. Jensen Button in the 15 car. Kimi Räikkönen's back in the 99 or the 91. 91. And Jordan Taylor's driving the 9 car.
Yes.
That's a lot of championships on that race this weekend. A lot of talent from all over the world.
All
Trevor,
over. Yeah.
who have you got to win
Man.
Circuit of the Americas this weekend?
Jordan Taylor.
Jordan Taylor.
Yep.
That was very quick. I don't think you thought about that very much at all.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I mean, I wanted to say Jensen Button, but I gotta.
I mean, Button's
I
in
just
the
think-
Rick Ware car. That's the problem.
I know. Yeah, that's the problem. But also on top of that, he's a Formula One driver. He's not really like a, I mean,
On the upside,
don't-
with having them come to Coda, I'm talking Kimi and Jensen, as opposed to Watkins Glen. They actually have experience on Circuit of the Americas with the Formula One
they
car.
know the track. Right.
Yes.
They know the track very well. So that's gonna be a very big plus.
Yeah.
For those guys.
Jordan
But-
Taylor is not a bad pick because he's got a lot of road course experience. He's a talented driver.
Yep.
And he's in one of the best cars out there right now. In
For
that
road
9
courses,
car.
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, now you're really gonna see: is it Chase, or is it the car?
Right.
I mean, this is where you're going. This is where you're gonna find out.
Yeah.
And I think that Jordan Taylor is one of the best. I can't say the best, but one of the best. Definitely modern day sports car racers.
Yeah.
For
Well,
sure.
especially
Like,
since
you can't-
he's spent a lot of time driving the GTLM Corvette and the GT3 Corvette. You know.
And he's also been working with the guys on the Garage 56 car.
Yep, he's been working on that car.
Yep. So is Jensen Button,
Yep.
and so is Jimmy Johnson. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, Jensen Button's getting in a Rick Ware car, but I mean,
Well, and every time I bring up the fact that it's a Rick Ware car, everyone's like, well, it's prepared by Stuart Haas. And I'm like, that's not even better.
right, yeah, no, it's really not. But it's, I don't think that he would come just to come and for publicity or something. He's
Right.
got to believe that the car is going to be prepared very well, and
For sure.
it's probably going to be prepared a lot better than it would be.
It's going to be a lot better prepared than the Connor Daly car, that's for sure.
Right, yeah, you ain't lying.
So, well, it's my turn to make a pick for Coda. And I think I'm just going to go with, oh man, who do I want to pick? I've been kind of going back and forth with a few drivers this week.
Oh yeah,
And
which ones?
AJ Allmendinger and Kyle Larson.
Ooh,
And I think,
that's a hard.
yes, those are the two I've been kind of going back and forth on this week. And I think I'm going to go with Kyle Larson.
Ooh, really?
Yes. just because Kyle Larson has actually run really well at Circuit of the Americas and has
Mhm.
been running well on road courses in general. And on top of that, the Hendrick cars have just been firing off all cylinders. I mean, Larson had a chance to win Vegas. Caution kept him
Yep.
from winning that one. Had a chance to
Right.
win Phoenix when the second caution came out and got him.
Yep.
Kyle, we could be looking at Kyle Larson having 2 wins already going into Circuit of the Americas.
Yep.
And I think that momentum's just going to keep up. So I'm going to go with the 5 car of Kyle Larson to win Circuit of the Americas this weekend.
That's really not a bad pick at all. I mean, both drivers are phenomenal race car
Yeah,
drivers, and I had to go with the 9.
of
I've
course.
kind of spaced out on AJ Allmendinger, to be honest,
Yeah,
but another strong pick for all of you betting people out there would be
yeah.
Alex Bowman.
Oh
Like
yeah,
what he did last year,
yeah.
he was very good, a very
I
good
I
pick.
will say what's going to be really interesting this go around is not having those cautions for the stages this week across
Yes.
all 3 series.
I think
So,
that's where Chase Elliott would have shined,
oh, for
you
sure.
know.
Yeah, if Chase Elliott was in that 9 car right now, that 9 car would just be lights out. Like that's a no-brainer right there.
Right.
Because
Yep.
he's just absolutely masterful of just driving away with these things.
And I think part of the problem has been with late lately with the road courses has been they've been bit by strategy.
Yes.
With their, they're trying to go for the race win and not the stages, but then something happens when they're
Yeah.
back there in traffic and he can't get back up to the front and,
Right.
do Chase Elliott things. Breaking news, don't know if you've seen it or not. Chase Elliott is going to be in the booth for Coda this weekend.
Nice.
Super pumped about that one.
Yeah. That's
Um, what else? I think there was something else in the news too.
uh the Gunther is doing the booth. The guy that runs the Haas F1 team.
Oh,
He's going to be in the booth this week as well.
no, I don't know.
Yeah.
I felt like there was something else.
Josh Williams is sitting out this week. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't remember.
yeah,
I
he
I,
is.
I feel like there was some news that broke this week, but I can't remember what it was.
Denny Hamlin retracted his
Oh
I'm
yeah,
not
he's
gonna appeal.
he's appealing that now. We
Yeah.
still haven't heard word on the Hendrick or colleague appeals yet,
No,
so we're
no.
still waiting on
Still
that.
haven't.
I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, there wasn't a whole lot to talk about. Atlanta wasn't that most exciting racing this year.
No.
Hopefully, it's a little bit better when they come back in the summer and the track gets hot, slick. Maybe something a little different in the summer. But yeah, first road
We
course race of the year coming up,
Same.
Circuit of the Americas. So,
Can't wait.
yep, I'm excited, and we will be here next week to break all that exciting racing down for you guys. So, any final thoughts, Trevor?
Uh, you streaming the 12-hour race this weekend?
I will be streaming the 12-hour race this weekend.
Check out the 12-hour stream this weekend.
Yep,
Sebring 12 hours. We're doing it. Other than
we
that,
are.
thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you over the weekend. Bye
Yep.
bye.